First Contact and Defiance. The holographic display aboard the EDF Intrepid cast an ethereal blue glow across Captain Sarah Chen's face as she studied the massive alien vessel that had suddenly appeared at the edge of Saturn's rings. 20 years of service in Earth's Defense Force hadn't prepared her for this moment. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization. The ship ahead of them was elegant, all sweeping curves and gleaming metal that seemed to drink in starlight. "Analysis," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension crackling through the bridge. Lieutenant Rivera's fingers danced across his console. "Ship mass approximately 3 times our size, Captain. Energy readings off the charts. Their technology is, well, it makes ours look like we're playing with toys." Chen nodded, keeping her expression neutral for her crew's sake. The Intrepid was Earth's most advanced warship, the culmination of a century of technological development. To hear it dismissed so casually was sobering. "They're broadcasting, Captain," Communications Officer Patel announced. "All frequencies, all languages. They're pulling the languages directly from our networks." "Put it through." The holographic display shifted, revealing a humanoid figure with iridescent scales and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, its voice carried an artificial perfection that made Chen's skin crawl. "Greetings, vessel of Earth. I am High Commander Xelthor of the Concordiat. We have been observing your civilization for some time. You have reached the threshold of interstellar capability, and thus qualify for integration into our alliance. Prepare to receive our representatives. Resistance is..." The alien paused, as if consulting a cultural database. "Inadvisable." Chen leaned forward in her command chair, studying the alien's body language. 2 decades of diplomatic training kicked in as she formulated her response. But before she could speak, her tactical officer's voice cut through the silence. "Captain, detecting massive energy buildup in their secondary systems. They're powering up something, and it's not weapons." Chen's eyes narrowed. "They're not waiting for our response. They're planning to teleport aboard." She stood, smoothing her uniform. "Mr. Rivera, activate Protocol 0. The bridge crew stiffened. Protocol 0 was theoretical, designed for this exact scenario, but never tested. Throughout the ship, quantum-encrypted systems began running code that had been written by humanity's best minds, preparing for this moment. "Your species will be given a position of honor within the Concordiat," Xelthor continued. "Your biological and technological distinctiveness will be preserved and studied. Prepare for..." "No." Chen's voice cut through the alien speech like a knife. Xelthor blinked all 4 eyes in sequence. "I don't understand. This is not a request. The Concordiat has incorporated 37 species into its ranks. None have refused." Chen smiled, and there was something in that smile that made the alien commander pause. "Then let me be the first to teach you something about humanity, High Commander. We don't respond well to demands. Your defiance is noted but meaningless. Our transportation systems are engaging now. Your ship will be..." The alien's voice cut off as their transportation beam hit the Intrepid's hull and scattered. Xelthor's expression shifted from confidence to confusion. "Impossible. Your shield technology. These patterns are unknown to us." "That's because we invented them last Tuesday," Chen replied casually. "You see, High Commander, humanity has spent its entire history preparing for this moment. Not because we knew you were coming, but because we've always known someone would. Every science fiction story, every speculative technology, every wild theory. We explored them all. When we looked to the stars, we didn't just dream of meeting new civilizations. We prepared for every possible scenario, including this one." The Intrepid's systems hummed as more experimental technologies came online. Quantum fields that shouldn't exist wrapped around the ship's hull. Probability drives that defied conventional physics began spooling up. "You have 1 hour," Chen continued. 1 hour to leave this system and deliver a message to your Concordiat. Humanity will not be incorporated. We will not be studied. We will not be controlled. We welcome peaceful contact and mutual exchange, but it will be on equal terms or not at all. This is unprecedented, Selthor replied, genuine amazement creeping into their artificial voice. You cannot hope to resist the combined might of 37 spacefaring civilizations. Chen's smile widened. Would you like to bet on that? Because if there's one thing humans love more than defying impossible odds, it's proving everyone wrong about what's possible. The alien ship hung in space, its commanding presence somehow diminished by the simple fact that a single human vessel had said no and made it stick. You have 59 minutes remaining, Chen added helpfully. I suggest you use them wisely. As the alien commander's image faded from her display, Chen sat back in her command chair and opened a channel to Earth Command. Central, this is Intrepid. First contact established. They're exactly what we prepared for, and they're not ready for what comes next. Across Earth and its colonies, production facilities that had been running in secret for decades began powering up. Quantum computers started processing combat scenarios, and in laboratories throughout the solar system, scientists smiled as they finally got to implement technologies they had developed for exactly this moment. Humanity had spent its history telling stories about first contact. Now they would show the galaxy why those stories always ended with humanity winning. The silent response. Deep within the Cheyenne Mountain complex, Dr. Marcus Hayes stood before a wall of holographic displays, each showing a different aspect of humanity's response to the Concordia's ultimatum. 3 weeks had passed since the Intrepid's encounter, and Earth had been anything but idle. Show me Ghost Fleet status, he commanded. The central display shifted, revealing hundreds of ships under construction in orbital shipyards that officially didn't exist. But these weren't the massive battleships the Concordia would expect. Each vessel was small, barely larger than a fighter, and packed with technology that defied conventional physics. Dr. Hayes, his assistant, Dr. Sarah Williams, approached with a tablet. The quantum entanglement tests are complete. The Concordia won't be able to track our communications. Hayes nodded, his dark eyes reflecting the shifting data streams. And the void spheres, ready for deployment. Though I still think calling them void spheres is a bit dramatic. Sometimes drama has its uses, Hayes replied, allowing himself a small smile. Especially when you're trying to convince an interstellar alliance that they've made a terrible mistake. The void spheres represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, artificial quantum singularities that could be controlled with precise accuracy. The Concordia's sensors would register them as nothing more than background radiation, right until the moment they activated. A priority alert flashed across the displays. Multiple Concordia vessels detected entering the Kuiper Belt. An AI voice announced, current count, 732 ships. Hayes didn't flinch. Right on schedule. Status of Operation Phantasm. All systems green, Williams replied. The quantum field generators are functioning perfectly. As far as their sensors are concerned, Earth's military capabilities are exactly what they'd expect from a primitive species, and our actual capabilities. Williams smiled. The Ghost Fleet is at 97% readiness. The Void Sphere network is in position. The quantum AI networks are running battle simulations faster than the Concordia can process data. Hayes turned to face the massive underground command center, where thousands of personnel worked at their stations. None of them showed fear despite the approaching armada. Instead, there was an almost palpable sense of anticipation. You know, Hayes mused, throughout human history, we've always been fascinated by the idea of asymmetric warfare. David versus Goliath. The smaller force defeating the larger through superior strategy and unexpected tactics. And now we get to put those lessons into practice on a galactic scale, Williams added. A new alert drew their attention. The Concordia fleet had passed Neptune's orbit, their massive ships moving in perfect formation. Their confidence was evident in every aspect of their approach. They still think size equals strength, Hayes observed. They believe that because their ships are bigger, Their technology more advanced, victory is inevitable. He touched a control, bringing up detailed scans of the alien fleet. But they're about to learn something about humanity that every would-be conqueror throughout our history has learned too late. What's that? We're at our most dangerous when someone tells us something's impossible. Hayes activated the facility's quantum-encrypted communications network. This is control. Operation Phantasm is now active. All Ghost Fleet vessels, prepare for Phase 1. Across the solar system, hundreds of seemingly empty regions of space came alive. The Ghost Fleet vessels, invisible to conventional sensors, moved into position. Each ship carried void spheres and quantum weapons that the Concordiate's sensors wouldn't even recognize as technology. They're broadcasting. Williams announced. Same message as before. Submit or be conquered. Hayes watched as the alien fleet approached, their massive ships casting shadows across space itself. Send our response. Throughout the Concordiate fleet, communication officers received a single text message in their own languages. Thank you for volunteering to participate in humanity's first practical demonstration of impossible physics. Before the alien commanders could process this unusual response, their sensors detected something that should not exist. Hundreds of quantum singularities appearing simultaneously throughout their formation. The void spheres activated, creating localized distortions in space-time that made their targeting systems worse than useless. Ghost Fleet reporting ready, Williams announced. All ships in position. Hayes nodded, his expression serious. Begin the demonstration. The Ghost Fleet struck from what appeared to be empty space, their quantum weapons bypassing shields designed to stop conventional attacks. Small human ships danced between the massive alien vessels, striking with surgical precision before vanishing again. Sir, Williams called out, the Concordiate fleet is. They're falling back. Their formation is breaking. Of course they are, Hayes replied calmly. They just discovered that everything they thought they knew about physics, about warfare, about technological superiority. It's all wrong. He watched as the alien ships began a hasty retreat. And this was just the demonstration. Wait until they see what we can really do. In the command center's main display, the massive Concordiate fleet continued its withdrawal, their perfect formation now in shambles. 732 ships, each one carrying technology that had dominated the galaxy for centuries, retreating from an enemy they couldn't even see. Send a message to all Earth forces, Hayes ordered. Phase 1 complete. Begin preparations for Phase 2. He turned to Williams, his eyes gleaming with the same determination that had driven humanity to reach for the stars. Now we show them why you should never corner a species that turns impossible odds into an art form. Guerrilla Stars. Commander Jack Torres stood at the helm of the EDF Shadow Dancer, a ship so advanced it technically didn't exist. The vessel was barely visible even to his own eyes, its quantum-shifted hull absorbing nearly all electromagnetic radiation. Around him, scattered across 50 light-years of space, 200 similar ships waited in perfect silence. Contact, his tactical officer whispered, though sound couldn't travel through space. Old habits died hard. Concordiate supply fleet entering the target zone. 30 capital ships, heavy escort. Torres nodded, watching the massive alien vessels through the quantum imaging system. After their initial retreat, the Concordiate had spent 2 months regrouping, analyzing, and planning. Now they were attempting to establish forward bases in nearby star systems, preparing for a prolonged campaign. Status of the quantum net, he asked. Fully deployed and undetected, sir. They have no idea they're flying into a trap. Torres allowed himself a small smile. The quantum net was another of Earth's impossible technologies, a web of interconnected void spheres that could turn a volume of space into a maze of gravitational distortions with a single command. All ships, execute Operation Firefly, he ordered through the quantum-entangled comm system. Around him, his crew moved with practiced precision, their movements economical and sure. The Concordiate fleet proceeded with typical confidence, their massive ships arranged in defensive formations designed to counter conventional attacks. Their sensors swept space constantly, looking for signs of the mysterious human vessels that had humiliated their first assault. They found nothing, of course. The Ghost Fleet vessels weren't merely invisible. They existed in a state of quantum uncertainty, simultaneously there and not there until the moment they chose to strike. Target zone reached, Tactical reported. Quantum net is hot. Torres leaned forward in his command chair. Begin the dance. Across 50 light-years of space, 200 human ships enacted a battle plan that would have been impossible just a few years ago. The quantum net activated, creating a maze of spatial distortions that trapped the Concordiate fleet in bubbles of warped spacetime. They're trying to power through, his science officer reported, admiration in her voice. Their engines are incredible. Any other species would have been torn apart. Then it's time for step 2, Torres replied. All ships, execute proximity strikes. Show them why humans named our best warships after dancers. The Shadow Dancer and her sister ships flowed through space like water, their quantum drives allowing them to move in ways that violated everything the Concordiate knew about physics. Each human vessel targeted a specific alien ship, striking from multiple angles simultaneously thanks to their quantum uncertain state. Sir, Tactical's voice was urgent. They're adapting. Their shields are. They're trying to copy our quantum field technology. Torres grinned. Right on schedule. Deploy the void seeds. Microscopic void spheres, previously dormant, activated within the alien vessel's shield generators. The Concordiate's attempted adaptation backfired spectacularly as their own shields collapsed, their copied quantum fields turning against them. All ships, execute final movement, Torres ordered. Let's show them why you don't try to copy technology you don't understand. The Ghost Fleet struck in perfect coordination, their quantum weapons bypassing the aliens' remaining defenses. They didn't aim to destroy, merely to disable. Within minutes, the entire Concordiate fleet hung powerless in space. Open a channel, Torres commanded. When the communication link established, he spoke clearly and calmly. This is Commander Torres of the Earth Defense Force. Your ships are disabled. Your supply lines are cut. You have 2 options. Withdraw completely from this sector of space, or learn why humans wrote so many stories about dancing with death. The alien commander's response came quickly, their artificial voice unable to completely hide their shock. How? Our technology is centuries ahead of yours. Our understanding of physics is incomplete. Torres finished for them. You thought you knew everything about how the universe works. We looked at the same universe and asked, what if we're wrong about everything? That's the difference between us. He gestured, and his crew transmitted data packets to the disabled alien ships, just enough power to limp home, along with a message for their leaders. Your entire civilization is built on the assumption that you understand how everything works, Torres continued. We built ours on the assumption that we don't know anything for certain. And that, Commander, is why we'll always be able to surprise you. As the crippled Concordiate fleet retreated, Torres opened a channel to Earth Command. Operation Firefly complete. The message is delivered. They now know that trying to establish forward bases in our space is suicide. Well done, Commander, Dr. Hayes's voice replied. But this was just a skirmish. They'll be back, and next time they'll bring everything they have. Torres looked out at the star-filled space where his fleet hung in quantum uncertainty. Good, because we've only shown them a fraction of what humanity can do when someone tells us something's impossible. In the distance, the void spheres continued their silent dance, waiting for the next battle in humanity's first interstellar war. A war that would teach the galaxy why humans had spent centuries imagining how to fight impossible battles and winning them. The mathematics of hope. Dr. Amara Patel hadn't slept in 3 days, but her eyes were bright with the fever of discovery as she stared at the equations floating in the holographic display. Around her, the quantum computing lab at Luna Base hummed with activity as the most powerful computers humanity had ever built processed her latest calculations. "It's not just their FTL drives," she muttered, manipulating the three-dimensional equations with practiced gestures. "It's their entire understanding of quantum mechanics. They're using a mathematical framework that's elegant but incomplete." Her colleague, Dr. Chen Wei, looked up from his own workstation. "How so?" "They built their entire civilization on perfect certainty," Amara explained, pulling up comparative analyses of Concordia technology. "Their equations assume the universe works according to fixed, unchangeable rules. But we know better. We've always known better." The massive quantum displays showed captured data from every encounter with Concordia chips. They're faster than light drives. Their weapons, their shields, all based on the same fundamental assumptions about how the universe worked. "Look here," Amara highlighted a section of the equations. "Their FTL technology creates a bubble of defined spacetime. Perfect, predictable, absolutely stable. But that's their weakness. They never considered that stability itself might be optional." A priority alert flashed across their screens. The quantum sensor network humanity had spread across nearby star systems was detecting massive energy signatures. The Concordiat was mobilizing their entire fleet. "They're coming," Chen observed quietly. "Every ship they have. They're done playing games." Amara nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the shifting equations. "Good, because I just figured out how to turn their greatest strength into their greatest vulnerability." She opened a channel to Earth Command. "Dr. Hayes, remember how you said we needed a miracle? I think I've got something better. We're going to teach them why humans never trusted perfect solutions." Hours later, in the Combined Fleet Command Center beneath Cheyenne Mountain, Amara stood before Earth's military leadership, explaining her discovery. "The Concordiat's entire technological base relies on what they call stable quantum mechanics," she explained. "Their FTL drives create perfect bubbles of stable spacetime. Their weapons generate perfectly predictable energy patterns. Even their shields operate on principles of absolute certainty." "And this helps us how?" Admiral Chen, Sarah's mother, asked. Amara smiled. "Because we've spent the last century developing technologies that embrace uncertainty. Our quantum drives don't try to stabilize spacetime. They surf its natural fluctuations. Our void spheres don't create perfect singularities. They create controlled chaos." She brought up a simulation showing a Concordiat battleship. When they activate their FTL drives, they're essentially forcing a bubble of spacetime to behave according to their rules. But spacetime doesn't like being forced. It's like, imagine trying to create a perfectly still pool of water in the middle of a storm. Understanding dawned in Hayes's eyes. "The energy cost must be enormous." "Exactly. And that energy has to go somewhere. They've compensated for this with incredibly advanced power generation systems. But," she gestured, and the simulation showed a void sphere activating near the alien ship. "What happens when we introduce controlled uncertainty into their stable systems?" The simulation showed the alien ship's FTL bubble collapsing catastrophically as the void sphere's quantum fluctuations cascaded through their artificially stabilized spacetime. "We can't just shut down their ships," Amara continued, her voice gaining intensity. "We can turn their own technology against them. Every attempt to activate their FTL drives while our void spheres are present will result in a feedback loop that'll cripple their systems." Admiral Chen leaned forward. "Can they adapt to this? Not without completely rebuilding their entire technological civilization from the ground up. They'd have to abandon centuries of development based on stable quantum mechanics and learn to work with uncertainty like we do. It'd take them decades at minimum." Hayes nodded slowly. "And we can deploy this across our entire defensive network." "Already done," Amara replied. "I've uploaded the calculations to the Quantum AI network. Every void sphere in human space is being recalibrated as we speak, the next time they try to enter our space in force." She let the sentence hang. But everyone in the room understood. Humanity had found not just a defense, but a fundamental weakness in the foundation of Concordia technology. They had done it not through superior firepower or more advanced technology, but by embracing the very uncertainty that the aliens had spent centuries trying to eliminate. "Send word to all commands," Admiral Chen ordered. "Operation Uncertainty is now active. Let's show the Concordiate why humans never trusted perfect solutions, because we always knew someone would find a way to break them." As the command center erupted into activity, Amara looked at her equations one last time. The Concordiate was bringing their entire fleet, thousands of ships, the combined might of 37 spacefaring civilizations, and they were about to learn why humans had always preferred messy, imperfect solutions that worked over perfect solutions that failed. The battle for human space was about to begin. And thanks to a mathematical insight that turned the aliens' greatest strength into their greatest weakness, humanity was ready. Symphony of silence. The void between stars erupted with light as 3,000 Concordia vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. Their massive ships formed a sphere around humanity's home, a display of force meant to end this conflict decisively. In the combined fleet command center, Captain Sarah Chen stood beside Dr. Hayes and Dr. Patel, watching the tactical display. The Concordia fleet's formation was perfect, their technology a testament to centuries of development. They were about to learn that perfection could be a weakness. All Ghost Fleet vessels in position. Commander Torres reported through the quantum link. Void Sphere network is active and synchronized. Ready on your command. Chen touched the communications panel. Open a channel to their flagship. High Commander Xelthor's image appeared, their 4 eyes gleaming with artificial certainty. Your defiance ends today. The combined might of the Concordiate stands ready. Surrender now, and your species will be treated with mercy. Before you proceed, Chen replied calmly, I should inform you that Dr. Patel has made some interesting discoveries about your FTL technology. Would you like to hear them? Your primitive understanding of our technology is irrelevant. We have adapted to your quantum tricks. Our shields now incorporate. Yes, Chen interrupted. You tried to copy our quantum field technology, but you did it wrong. You tried to make it perfect, predictable, stable, just like everything else you build. She nodded to Amara, who activated the Void Sphere network. Across the solar system, thousands of quantum singularities shifted into a new configuration, their uncertainty patterns precisely calibrated to interact with the Concordiate's stable space bubbles. You see, Chen continued, humans have always understood something that the Concordiate forgot long ago. The universe isn't meant to be perfect. It's chaotic, unpredictable, beautiful in its uncertainty. You tried to force it to follow your rules. We learned to dance with its chaos. The first Concordiate ship attempted to reposition using its FTL drive. The resulting cascade failure was spectacular. Perfect stability met controlled chaos, and chaos won. The massive vessel's engines went dark as its artificial space-time bubble collapsed. What have you done? Xelthor demanded, genuine fear creeping into their artificial voice. We turned your greatest strength into your greatest weakness, Chen replied. Every ship in your fleet that activates its FTL drive will suffer the same fate. Your weapons, your shields, everything based on your stable quantum mechanics, it's all vulnerable now. Not because our technology is better, but because we understand something you forgot. Sometimes the best solution isn't the perfect one. Across the Concordiate fleet, more ships discovered this truth as they tried to maneuver. Each attempt to use their advanced technology resulted in systems failure as the void spheres introduced controlled uncertainty into their perfectly stable systems. This is impossible, Xelthor protested. Our understanding of physics is incomplete, Chen finished. Just like everyone's understanding is incomplete. That's what makes the universe beautiful. That's what makes life worth living. The constant discovery, the joy of finding out you were wrong about something. The Ghost Fleet emerged from quantum uncertainty, surrounding the paralyzed Concordiate Armada. Not to attack, but to demonstrate that they could. "So here's humanity's final offer," Chen continued. "Leave this space, return to your worlds, but come back when you're ready to talk as equals, not conquerors. Because we have so much to learn from each other, if you can just accept that perfection isn't the goal." Hours later, as the crippled Concordiate fleet limped away from Earth, Chen stood with Hayes, Amara, and Torres, watching the last ships disappear into the distance. "They'll be back," Torres observed. "Yes," Chen agreed, "but not as conquerors. They just learned something that will shake their civilization to its core. They learned that their perfect understanding of the universe isn't so perfect after all. And that's humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy," Amara added. "We reminded them that the joy isn't in knowing everything. It's in discovering how much we still have to learn." As the command center crew celebrated their bloodless victory, Chen couldn't help but smile. Humanity had faced its first interstellar threat, not with overwhelming force, but with understanding. They had defended their independence not by destroying their enemy, but by teaching them something profound about the nature of existence itself. The stars beckoned, and now humanity would venture out into them, not as conquerors or subjects, but as teachers and students, ready to share their greatest insight with the galaxy. That true strength lies not in perfect certainty, but in embracing the beautiful chaos of an uncertain universe. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, the void spheres continued their quantum dance, a testament to humanity's unique approach to understanding reality, not through imposing order, but through learning to waltz with chaos itself.